castaway type deal, or like a prisoner with an ankle brace.
When Joe Rogan calls, you come, okay? But no one else would have gotten me out of my house.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
nobody
you.
else. But I was very, I'm honored to be here. I love the show.
I'm honored to have you.
But no, listen, I have gotten good at living in my house without leaving. First of all, one thing that was weird, and I actually find it strange, actually. I find this strange. About 4 weeks before shit went down, right? For whatever reason, it was happening. It was in Italy, I think. It was bad over there. I'm not by any means a doomsday prepper or anything like that. In fact, I'm the opposite. I've always said to myself, if something went wrong, I'd have like 1 day's supply of food or something like that in my house. And I went, before the rush on the toilet paper, all that stuff, I went and I got non-perishable food. I got sardines. I read articles about what's good protein. I got, beans. I got rice. I stocked up my pantry with stuff. I got about a month's supply of food, not thinking that I was actually going to. I knew it was possible. There were glimmers of it. They were starting to talk about it, but not thinking I was actually going to be locked in my house. And then all of a sudden it happened. And
so you just were being smart. You're like, wouldn't it be nice if I did have a month's supply of food?
Yeah, I talk about this stuff a lot with my friends, and we're always sort of talking about the possibilities of things, but you didn't think it was actually going to happen. So then it happened. So then I discovered some delivery services that deliver groceries.
Right, but who are the people delivering them? And are they healthy?
So here's the thing.
Think about that?
So yeah, I do not interact with them.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. But you touch the stuff that they touched, right?
What
have they been hot chewing all over your bag?
Again, just to be safe, I did disinfect them, and then I take them and I put them in with gloves, with rubber gloves, and I put them into another room, and I let it sit for 3 days for the virus to die, and then I start eating. Eating.
I wish there was a clear answer to all this. Or I wish there was a clear solution to all this.
I tell you, talking to you is making me feel better.
Well, I feel better reading the latest statistics about the mortality rate. I wonder what there's an infection rate, hospitalization rate, mortality rate. What was it? What was the study that was it UCLA? Is that what it was? For sure. And it showed a very low fatality rate in comparison to infection. So that's good news. But the bad news is this, it could still kill a lot of fucking people. And if people that are immune compromised, people with diabetes, people that are overweight, people with lung problems, people with cigarette habits, all those. And particularly one of the nurses was saying people who were into the Juul, people who smoke with Juul, they said there's a high instance that he personally was seeing of people, was it the he nurse or the she nurse? I forgot who told me this.
You know what I was wondering? Remember like 1 month before this happened, people were having lung issues because of vapes? And do you think that was coronavirus?
Well,
remember it was a big thing for a week.
We had that explained to us by Adam.
Vapes. Maybe that was coronavirus.
We had that explained to us by Adam Curry.
Yeah.
It wasn't really what it appeared to be. What it really was is a concerted effort to conflate two things that were happening. One, these assholes that made like really shitty low-level THC vape pens that got people sick, and a couple people died. I forget how many people died. Was it like 10 people died, Jamie? Something like that? Adam Curry told us the whole story in the podcast. Then the cigarette companies or whoever is behind this tried to get all tobacco vapes banned. And they're trying to ban...
I was fixing my shot because I want to be on camera. I don't want the mic block my face.
But your extra hand sanitizer?
That's the first thing I've touched.
It's dripping.
I know. I'm not thinking about. Sorry. Oh yeah. You're grossed out by too much sanitizer. That's good. That's a good thing.
It's killing everything. The good
and
the bad.
It's sanitizing.
But it's not good if you. I know a guy who uses that stuff all the time. He's getting warts all over his hands now because his immune system's all fucked up.
Oh yeah.
From sanitizing constantly.
Like the Carlin bit. Yeah.
Well, that's really what happens. Like you're not supposed to use antibacterial soap.
You need bacteria. Yeah,
like
it's a great bit. Yeah.
When we would in jiu-jitsu, sometimes guys would get staph infections or ringworm's a big one. And ringworm, they would use antibacterial soap, and it would wind up fucking up their whole body, and they'd wind up getting it more often. Like they think, oh, I'm just using antibacterial soap all the time. So you're killing all the healthy shit on the outside of your skin, and then you wonder why you're getting sick all the time. You wonder why your skin is getting infected.
I'm not like that normally, but it honestly is the first one of the. Well, actually, when you made me that coffee earlier, whatever that coffee was, which was amazing.
That's the Laird Hamilton stuff. It's Black Rifle coffee mixed with Laird Hamilton's turmeric, which is just
some Hawaii surfer
curry.
coffee. Yeah,
it
was good. It was good.
Basically what curry is. Yeah, it's so good, right?
Oh my god.
And no coconut milk. Ooh, it's nice.
Yeah,
good for you. Super healthy.
That's the first
thing that someone touched.
Object that I've touched in over a month that someone else had touched.
For sure, you've definitely touched other things you just forgot.
Well, no one's been in my house.
That's true. You haven't left the house at all.
So no, I touched the groceries, but I
disinfected first.
Disinfected. But I don't expect to be like this forever. You know?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
When do we go back? Did you see the mayor of Las Vegas?
Yeah.
With Anderson Cooper. This is not China. This is Las Vegas, Nevada.
So there's a line that, you know, on this end of the spectrum, it's complete casual, lackadaisical approach to what's going on.
Right.
There's this end of the spectrum, which is, I guess, me right now, right? And then there's the middle, which is more of she on the far end. We're going to open up Las Vegas. We're going to have casinos open. When are the casinos going to open? When is comedy going to start again? When are we going to be back on the road telling jokes?
It's a good question, man. Everything I've had, I think, has been moved. There was supposed to be some stuff in May that I was doing in Des Moines, Iowa, and somewhere else. And that's getting moved. And the only thing that I have scheduled is July in Vegas. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know if that's real.
Yeah.
That seems so crazy to say that I don't know here in April whether or not I'll be able to do a gig in July in Vegas.
You have the podcast. You're doing the podcast. You get your adrenaline rush from that. I'm assuming you get an adrenaline rush from this. You get it from stand-up, of course, right? Is it weird having an absence of that stand-up comedy thing? Not just because it's fun to do, but just physically, are you feeling different? Not getting that on-stage energy rush every night?
No,
at the comedy store every night you go down there. You
yes
get that.
And no, but I know that I can't do anything about it, so I just shut it off.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to think about that.
Yeah.
You can't think about shit that there's nothing you can do about. That'll just drive you mad.
I heard you talking about that with Donnell.
Yeah,
Rawlings
you
on the
just
show.
got to go, okay,
Yeah.
you can't do stand-up right now. That's just what it is. It
Yeah.
is what it is. But look, man, if you just stop and think about a guy that works at a grocery store, okay?
Yeah.
It's not the worst job in the world, but it's fine. Now, all of a sudden, he's in a fucking war zone. He's in a viral war zone. And he's got to hope that some coughing motherfucker doesn't give him a death sentence while he's restocking the rice, right? It's a different world.
Yeah.
Different world for them. For me, I can't go on stage for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. I feel bad for the comedy clubs, really. I feel bad for the waitresses and the waiters and the kitchen staff and the managers and all the people that don't have a paycheck coming in. I feel bad for them. And I'm happy to do a ton of free shows. When we come back, I'll just do shows and donate all the money to the Comedy Store or the Improv or whoever. Happy to help.
Yeah.
But I think that it is, for us in particular, it's an inconvenient thing.
Yeah.
But it's not life-threatening. This is a life-threatening time for some people. For nurses and hospital workers, this is a life-threatening time. For that Chicago bus driver, did you see that video of the bus driver?
Yeah.
Who's telling people, please be courteous, don't be coughing in the middle of the pandemic, and then he's dead a few days later.
Tragic. Yeah.
Horrific, right? This is why this disease is so fucked up. It just seems like for some people, it's a death sentence. And then for other people, it's nothing. And that just doesn't make any sense to me. Clearly, I'm not a doctor. And clearly, this is a new virus. But it's just so weird that something could be asymptomatic for a huge amount of people. But some people get it and they barely even notice it. They just feel a little bit of fatigue. Some people get a little bit of a cough for a couple of days and then nothing, and other people are dead. Like, it's nuts. It doesn't compute in my head. Like, other things, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so have you ever been seriously ill?
Yes. I've had the flu.
I mean, like, I'm a cancer survivor.
Right.
So to me, Not saying the flu is not seriously ill. That's flu. You
No,
can die from the
but
flu,
you're
right?
right.
You can die from the flu. We know this. But so when I got cancer, my show was on MTV. Things were going great. Everything was going great. You know, I got my show on MTV. People were watching. I'd been doing it on public access in Canada for years, 6 years. I'd been working away, making my own show because, you know, no one's ever going to give me a friggin' show, so I'll make my own show, right? Sort of I did that before the web. I did that first, right? That's how I always thought like that, you know? All of a sudden I'm on MTV. Everything's great. Feeling a little funny down there. Fortunately, I went to the doctor, right, which a lot of young people who get testicular cancer, thank you very much, don't go to the doctor right away, so it spreads. And they die, right? I went to the doctor. I was lucky. I went to the doctor. But for me, having that happen at that time was so bizarre. Just in the, you know, I sometimes think if I had gotten that testicular cancer 1 year earlier, you know, MTV wouldn't have picked up the show yet. So I would have been in Canada dealing with it, and then probably they wouldn't have picked up the show, and my life would be completely different. That sort of change, and sort of the you know, I don't believe there's coincidences. Sometimes I don't believe in coincidences. Sometimes I do. I flip-flop on that. But I basically, because of that, what that sort of made me realize is that, like, life's random. It's not fair. Shit can happen. Even if it is unlikely, it might happen to me. And because of that, having dealt with that, and it just sucked, man. It sucked having cancer, like, because it wasn't just about, like, you know, removing my right testicle, right? You know, that sucks enough. You think that, you know, but it's fine. I got the left one. It's fine. It's the middle one now. It's fine. It's doing good. But I'm doing a bit. But no. But the thing is, they also did a lymph node dissection. It cut me open. It was painful. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Took years to recover from that physically, like pain, you know, nerve damage, just, you know, slowing down your body. And so I just go, I don't want to go through that again. Like I'm happy to just stay in my house right now, cut all, you know, you know, just completely, like, improve my odds. I don't really have anything to do right now anyways. You know, I'm not touring. I have a lot of stuff that I love doing in my house. I'm working on my computer on Pro Tools. I like making music. I like making hip-hop beats and stuff, you know. But for years, I've had these little details in that Pro Tools program that I've not unlocked, little mysteries, because I haven't had time to go in and figure out how to mix and do, like, compression and do all the little things that you do. So I'm, like, going down that rabbit hole. I got my sound engineer calling me, and I'm, like, doing on FaceTime, like, Pro Tools lessons, and I'm having fun with it. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing something with myself right now that is positive. I'm enjoying that, and I'm trying to avoid, you know, being hospitalized again, because I hate being in the hospital. It sucks.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything differently in terms of how you eat or health-wise or nutrients or taking care of your immune system?
Yeah. Yes. I heard you say zinc on the show, and
Don't listen to me, first of all. If
but
you're getting your medical advice from me.
Yeah. Well, no, I had already had the zinc, but that confirmed that I was taking zinc. So I was taking zinc. I've been
There's
taking
a lot of articles you should read on it, but yeah, zinc's very good.
I've been taking vitamins, vitamins, and then honestly, I'm not drinking as much.
You know what's unfortunate? YouTube said that they're going to take down anything that doesn't coincide with the World Health Organization's ruling on, you know, what to do about this pandemic.
What do you mean?
Their YouTube is taking down things, and now I don't know how specific they're going to be about this, but they were saying alternate therapies like vitamin C and things along those lines, which is kind of unfortunate because, like, unless they're not being that strict about it, because I would say if someone was saying if somebody made a video, someone who's a nutrition expert, and they made a video how to protect your immune system from COVID-19, or maybe just protect your immune system during the time of COVID-19. So they're not even saying that it's protecting it from that, but how to boost up your immune system in this very dangerous time in terms of viral infections. Well, there are strategies. There's things you can do, like get more sleep, drink more water, eat healthier, keep your body healthy with nutrients, and making sure you're eating clean, and don't drink alcohol and don't smoke cigarettes. If you just do those things, like this is real. Like this has actually been proven. So I don't know what you can get away with saying and what you can't get away with saying, but you can't always just hope that doctors come up with a cure. Because yes, the doctors are going to come up with a cure, and yes, we need them to do that. But you can't always think that medicine is going to fix you and you can just keep doing what you've always been doing that got you sick in the first place. Because a lot of times when you get sick, it has to do with how you've been living. Not always, but a lot of times. Like, is your immune system already compromised, or are you already weak? Are you beating up your body and abusing it, and then boom, then you catch a cold? We all know that's true. So advice on how to strengthen your immune systems, it's important for everybody. Now, if you want people to say, don't say that this is a cure for COVID-19, it's going to keep you from getting COVID-19, fine, great. But
so what? Like YouTube's going to take a video down that says,
this is what I'm saying. Like if you
take a lot of vitamins, don't drink alcohol, or
during the time, if it has to do with coronavirus and it's contrary or not in what the World Health Organization has recommended,
which changes every 2 weeks.
Well, they fucked up. I mean, there's
wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Good to wear a mask, bad to wear a mask. What the fuck?
Somebody posted it on their Twitter the other day. From it might have been Donald Trump Jr., but it showed the World Health it was on Instagram. World Health Organization, a tweet from them from what time it was last year. I think it was either December or maybe the beginning of this year. But they were saying that the World Health Organization says that it cannot be contracted from person to person. This is a tweet that they put out. So you can't say...
How the hell do you get it then?
Well, they didn't know then.
Directly from a pangolin. Yeah,
you have to be there. So don't worry about it. This is what they were getting, Chinese propaganda. They were spreading it. But the World Health Organization, when they were posting it, that's absolutely wrong. We all know that's absolutely wrong. So if you say you have to listen to what the World Health Organization says, well, they've been wrong before, right? And I want to know how much they really know about nutrition, how much they really know about health and fitness. Like, I'm looking at these people, they don't look like the healthiest humans in the world. Just because someone's a scientist, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean they're taking care of their own body. That's a problem.
No, he's a smart guy, but he might not work out. And
I've talked to a lot of really brilliant people, including doctors, that eat shitty food and don't really work out. So it's crazy.
I realized I didn't have a lot of vegetables, so I ordered, on Amazon, which I'd never used Amazon, by the way.
Amazon Fresh? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they were taking too long to deliver, actually. They actually weren't even delivering when I ordered this. But there's other stuff on Amazon that's not Amazon Fresh. Canned corn, okay? I ordered like a couple dozen cans of corn. So I have that, and I sometimes will mix that in. I've been cooking, so to stay healthy, I've been cooking. I like to cook anyways.
I believe you.
I do
you said that twice, like you're trying to convince me.
Yeah, because it seems like it might not be a believable thing, but I do like to cook.
Why wouldn't it be believable?
I don't know. It just seems.
I'm
surprised by it, so I figured others might be, but
I'm not at all.
Yeah, I like to cook, but I'm not an I just kind of have a sense for it. I know I can usually tell that I'm going to like it just by the smells of things, and so I have canned corn. I've been cooking a lot of pasta. I've been, I have stuff. I go live on my Instagram story. I do a little cooking show, sort of. I mean, I'm not saying it's a cooking show, but I do. Whenever I cook, I do a little Instagram story. I got these, the San Marzano tomatoes, okay?
What are those?
They're just like a can of tomatoes, but they're cans of peeled tomatoes. So they're delicious tomatoes, but they last forever because they're canned. So you can have a closet full of them, and they'll last forever, and you'll always have tomatoes. Then I've got the stuff, when I make pasta, it's called like ragu, okay, or prego sauce.
Crazy, that's exotic.
Yeah, when I make sauce. But I add the tomatoes to it, thicken it up, throw some canned mushrooms in there.
Why are you buying ragu tomato sauce?
It's just to have it.
Don't do it.
No?
No.
It's just to have it because in case of, system is if I can't get food for a while, I've got some backup food, Because you remember in the first few weeks of this, people were kind of thinking, is everything going to shut down, right? So I made sure I had some canned food, like they said.
Right, but why ragu? There's other brands you can get. That
yeah, well, I have Prego too. I got the Ragu. The Ragu is the Alfredo sauce, and the Prego is the marinara sauce. But what I'm saying is, my personal recipe for spaghetti, don't just heat up the Ragu. Put in some canned tomatoes in it. Way better.
okay.
So but I wouldn't normally do that. I wouldn't normally have canned corn. I wouldn't normally think about having vegetables. I'm the kind of person that I'll eat rice. And
So
I'll
do you
eat
think you had a premonition, or do you think you saw what was going on in China and you were like, you know what, it would be a good move to have a month's worth of food here?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like some sort of a superstitious thing. You don't feel like the universe was sending you a signal and you needed to go buy corn?
Well, I watched one of your shows recently where you're talking about. I love this episode where you're talking about, are we living in a simulation?
Yes.
Okay. So I was, you know, I love talking about this stuff. You know, it doesn't mean that I think we're living in a simulation. Oh, I think that doomsday is coming. Not necessarily, but I do love the thought experiment of talking about it and thinking about it. And so after I was watching that show, your show, I was really thinking about it a lot. I had a long conversation with my mom about how, we could be living in a simulation. What do you mean? Well, I mean, the computers are getting so fast. I mean, they're going to be able to program computers that have conscious, that little character on the computer might be able to start to think, and then it might start to be able to self-determine, and then we could just be an advanced version of that. And how would we ever know? And my mom's sitting there going like, no, what are you talking about? And then I had a pretty long day of talking about this with my mom and trying to convince her, not that we're living in a simulation, but that it's possible we could be living in a simulation. My mother wasn't really buying it, right? And then 2 weeks later, this happens. And I'm thinking, is this like because we're living in a simulation? Because if you were living in a simulation and then you started talking about it, and then the creator of the simulation heard that, he might start a pandemic.
Maybe the problem is the term simulation.
Yeah.
Because if you're living in a simulation, then it becomes your whole life. Like, is that simulated anymore? Like, what is that? Like, maybe it's always been a simulation. Maybe if you stop and think about events that take place that ultimately all seem to be leading towards events, right? When you think about the invention of electricity, and then the electronics of the 80s and the 90s that led to everyone having a home computer, that led to everybody having a computer in your pocket that listens to everything you say and takes pictures and uploads video and just keeps getting more and more advanced and more intertwined with you being a person until one day you enter it and you become a part of it. And they create something inside the world of computers that's far more compelling than the regular world itself. But maybe that's just the natural course of progression, and that's where life is going anyway. Like, maybe that's just a new kind of life, a new dimension of life, and that all these things just come about through that. They come about through either natural causes like, stars supernovaing and, everything coalesces and things become carbon-based life forms emerge and life becomes what it is in 2020, or those things figure out how to open up new realities, and that what a simulation would just be another reality, that we were created by some person doing the exact same thing that we're doing right now. That one day we get to the point where technology is so spectacularly advanced that you could have a new world that's indiscernible. Like, you can't tell that it's not real.
Right.
It's impossible to tell. You are in that world now, and that's where you exist.
That's what I was trying to convince my mother that we might actually be in.
It's possible.
She wasn't buying it.
Dude, Elon Musk thinks that. Elon Musk thinks that, and he freaks me out.
I know. I saw that on your show, too.
He's one of those. Have you ever talked to him?
No.
But look him in his eyes. You're like, what's going on there, man?
Oh, yeah?
Some extra shit's happening in there.
Yeah. Because when you got a guy that intelligent and he's saying there's a 1% chance or 1 in a billion chance that we're not living in a simulation, you think, okay. Is he just messing with me? Or
what was it? What was the gentleman's name that I was having that discussion with? Bostrom? Nick Bostrom.
Yeah, that's the show. I think I was watching. Yeah.
That was a very complicated discussion. We were talking about probability theory, like the probability of us having living life inside of a simulation is actually higher, because ultimately we're going to come up with a simulation someday.
And then when you talk about this stuff enough, and when you watch your show, which I do, and you listen to these complex conversations, right? And you start thinking about it, and you start thinking about all the possibilities of what could happen. And then this pandemic happens. And then, I still live in the same place where I did the show. It's like I started seeing, I'm here in Los Angeles. You saw them too. All of a sudden you're seeing Black Hawk helicopters going by every day.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? You're seeing Apache helicopters going by. You're seeing the Ospreys. You see the Ospreys going by every day in the first week of this. And you're thinking, what's going on, man?
Do you watch The Walking Dead?
I haven't watched it.
Let me tell you something.
I know that's crazy.
The Walking Dead, the first few seasons were awesome.
I'm going to hear about it now.
The first few seasons were awesome, but maybe even better is the first season of the LA version of The Walking Dead. What's that one called?
Fear of the Walking Dead, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes of that are spectacular.
Yeah.
The first season's pretty good, but they did it very differently than the other Walking Dead. But it just like it takes a while for people to realize what the fuck is happening.
Mm-hmm. It sort of felt like, is that what's happening?
Yeah.
In the beginning?
Oh, yeah, man. In the beginning, it felt touch and go. When everybody was hoarding all the toilet paper and
Right.
people were fighting.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. And everyone wants a gun. The gun lines were giant.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The lines outside the gun stores were creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you in one of those lines?
No,
you didn't need
I
to be?
have guns.
Yeah, sure
Yeah,
you do.
I'm not waiting in line.
I have a theory about the toilet paper. Maybe it's obvious, but I don't know. Maybe it's not obvious. I don't know. So toilet paper is big.
Yes.
So because it's big, it takes up a lot of shelf space. Because it takes up a lot of, maybe everyone's talked about this already, but maybe it takes up a lot of shelf space. So all of a sudden, everybody went to the grocery store at the same time, and there's probably far less toilet paper at the grocery store than it would appear, just because it takes an entire aisle because it's big. So everybody bought one package of toilet paper on the first day. It was instantly all gone. It's instantly an entire empty aisle, which is dramatic looking. And it was the first sign of shelves being cleared, and it was the toilet paper was gone, and everyone went on their fucking phones. They're putting a run of toilet paper, and all of a sudden, that compounded it exponentially, and now everyone's going for the toilet paper when they don't need to be going for the toilet paper, and we had the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. So.
This is the type of investigative reporting you do when you're alone for 5 weeks. Just go,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
breaking it down. Aha! You're the Columbo of toilet paper. That makes 100% sense.
Because it's big.
It's big.
Everyone grabbed a can of corn. Everyone
Yes.
grabbed a can of beans, but it didn't create an entire empty aisle that then got people thinking, talking, and tweeting and typing and Instagramming.
It's
So-
also something dumb people think about a lot. Shitting. Just,
Yeah.
that's that's what they
Right.
think.
You don't want to not be able to wipe your ass for
Yeah, but it's out of all the things you need. Like, do you understand what it's like when shit goes down? Get a rag and a bucket of water, okay?
Right.
Wash your ass with a washcloth.
Right.
Because shit is going down.
Yeah.
All right? That's the last thing you need to worry about is
Right.
toilet paper. You need to worry about consuming food and staying alive.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people don't think it's ever going to get to that, and those are the ones that stock up on toilet paper.
Yeah.
The ones who buy like rice and beans and stuff like that, those are the people that are planning. They're legitimately planning ahead. You want to stay alive. Wipe
They say,
your ass.
you know
Wipe
this,
your
but
ass. Use a hose.
beans, corn, and rice is that's what I read was enough vitamins and everything you need. So
Sure, you don't get enough protein that way, but you get some from beans.
Oh, really?
but yeah,
Okay.
it's just not as available. It's not as bioavailable as it is in other foods.
yeah. So
You can get some protein. You just got to eat a lot.
yeah.
It's not as complete as some forms of protein.
So how have you been enjoying doing the podcast since this started? Obviously, it becomes a big subject of conversation, right? Do you sometimes not want to talk about it anymore? I mean, we could. When your guests come in, is everyone always talking about the pandemic and what
Don't
they're
worry
eating?
about them, man. I want to just talk to you.
You just go with the flow.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation. Sometimes it's repetitive, unfortunately,
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
people that are listening in, they listen to me having conversations with people that haven't heard the other conversations.
Right.
And we wind up talking about the same shit.
Yeah.
But it seems like as the more I think about doing it, the best way to do it is just talk to people. Just have talk. Just talk. Just think
Yeah.
about how would you normally talk?
Yeah.
You'd have to talk about this. If I didn't see my friend Tom Green in a long time, then all of a sudden we're here, and you're like, bro, what the fuck is going on? And we're just going to ignore it?
Exactly.
Because really, we only talked for like, there was a couple times we were having conversations out there. We were like, gotta save it. Because I haven't seen you in a while, but gotta talk about it. Mad.
Yeah.
We're living in madness.
It's a weird thing when you talk about something in the hallway. I told you the story, but I'll tell you now. I'm doing what I said I didn't want to do. But
please do
Ed
it.
McMahon used to come up and do my web show that we were talking about, and Johnny Carson's sidekick. I never got to meet Johnny Carson, but I got to meet Ed McMahon.
That's pretty dope that you met Ed McMahon.
Yeah, we became friendly. He came and did it all the time. He did it
Really?
He did it like 4 times or something.
Wow.
Because I think he just had a curtain. He had a kind of shiny curtain.
Yeah.
I had a desk. I had the desk, the chair. And I just think he felt like it was fun for him. No pressure. We're doing a little kind of make-believe Tonight Show or whatever.
That's awesome, man.
And he'd come up, and I was just so overjoyed that he was there. And we'd stand in the hallway, and I'd start talking to him, and he'd say, I could tell he'd get quiet. He was never quiet on the show, but he'd get quiet before the show. And I was like, is he not in a good mood? And the first couple times, and he said, don't leave it in the hallway, Tom. Don't leave it in the hallway. And I realized, he doesn't want to have the same conversation again. And it made it a lot easier for me as the host of the show in my living room, because then I didn't feel obligated to talk to him either. And we just sat there in silence for half an hour until the show started.
We fucked that up a bunch of times on this podcast.
Yeah.
Not this, you and I.
I was trying to kind of talk about things that weren't going to come up. Like
like the early days of the podcast, sometimes before we ever got the show started, we had talked about all the coolest shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck, what were we just talking about? Oh, I forgot, man. 'Cause we're stoned.
And then you're talking about it again, and you know you're talking about it again, and they know, and you're trying to pretend that you haven't heard it before, and you're kind of doing this sort of can't really force the laugh, but you do, and then it doesn't feel right.
Awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love that. I love I love the rhythm to these kinds of conversations. That's something that I really love. As you know, I love doing what you do. I love doing this. I love talking to people. I love creating whether it's an interview or a conversation. I love listening to people and just waiting and feeling that rhythm of it. It's something that's very interesting to me, which took a long time to figure out, and that's what's kind of exciting about doing this stuff, is you do learn as you do these shows. And where else would you ever have the opportunity in the history of broadcasting, right, to have built your own studio and go, I'm going to do, how many thousand shows have you done now? I'm going to do 1,000 shows, right? I mean, you've got more, time as a interviewer than anyone like in history, other than the few handful of people that had shows that didn't get canceled, right? Everyone else, they get a chance to do a talk show. They get to do it for a few weeks or a few months or a few years, and then they get canceled.
Well, there's radio guys. Radio guys have been doing it forever, like Stern.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Way, way, way more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're in that category of people where you've got 10,000 hours of interviewing time. It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
It's not 10,000 hours.
Yeah,
but it's
how many thousand now? It's like 1,000 something?
1,000 show, 1,500 shows.
1,500 shows.
And the longest ones are like, there's a few 5-hour ones in there. The Kevin Smith one, a couple of them that were like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. Most of them are 3 or under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it in the early days of it, okay, when you were doing it in your house, how long did you love it being in the house? And then at what point did it start to be like, don't want to do this in my house anymore?
Well, when I was bringing over people that I didn't know, then I was like, this feels awkward to bring them to my house. It just feels like, it also feels like I was, it wasn't the right setup. I was like, well, if I'm doing this all the time, I should have like a better setup. I should figure out how to do this better. So for a while, Red Band set up at the Ice House. We did it there. But
we just did a show together, Red Band and I. We did a weekend at San Diego at the American Comedy Company right before this.
That's a great little
club. 2 months ago. Yeah,
I love that.
What's
spot.
up, Red Band? Yeah,
I love San Diego. San Diego is an awesome spot for comedy too.
Yeah.
And then I got a place near here that was smaller. And then I was like, okay, I want to build something crazy. I want to build something where it's like, what would I do if I was me? Like if you're like, if I was Tom Green, I would set up a fucking internet studio in my house. Well, if I was Joe Rogan, what would I do? I should have all the shit that I want, like a gym and, float tank, sauna.
It's incredible.
That's the most fun part about this place. Is that but you could never have a place like this if you had like a real company behind you. You know what I mean? Like if you were an employee, like Showtime, if Showtime put some Tom Green show together, and you're like, oh, so I want an indoor archery range. Like, listen, we can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't. You're gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, crossbow in the studio. No,
you
maybe
can't
not.
do that.
Yeah.
Well, I want to set up a gym. Well, hold on. We need everyone to sign a waiver. You're gonna enter this gym. You're lifting weights. This is crazy. Let me talk to the lawyers. Tom, the gym has to be in a separate building. And you have to have key cards to get into it, and everyone has to sign a release. You would never be able to put whatever you want on the walls. You wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't be the same.
And then there's always the looming possibility of it all being taken away at
that's what we
somebody's
were talking
whim.
about on your show. That was that conversation in 2007.
But I just put up the pictures. And
Sorry, pulling the plug on it, Tom.
Yeah. We just bought all the new furniture.
We heard you say dyke.
Yeah.
You said it. It's all over. You called some lovely woman a dyke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. But was there a moment though in your house when you were doing it where something happened that made you say, "This is," like did anyone ever come up and not want to leave after?
No. There's nothing bad.
No.
It just seemed like it just always seems like it's time to do something new.
See, my problem was I was drinking a lot more back then. Oh. So.
Do you drink now at all?
I do.
Do you?
But a lot less. Actually, I'll tell you, when I started doing stand-up again, 10 or 11 years ago, I started doing it again.
Want to have a drink right now?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Let's get us a couple of drinks.
Of course I will. Have a drink with
have
you on your
whiskey.
show. Of course I will. Just like a clip of us drinking. Yeah, of course. But